Namo Shakyamunaya Buddhaya. Dear respected teacher, dear venerable, dear noble community, thank you so much for being present this morning for the transmission of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Those who are currently here at Magnolia Grove and also our friends who are online. This is a happy moment. Please allow me to go over the program for this morning's ceremony. We'll begin with the short silent sitting meditation, followed by the practices of incense offering and touching of the earth, prostrations. After that, we will have chanting, the opening verse, and the insight that brings us to the other shore, followed by the formal request, Sangha Karman procedure, and the transmission of the 5 mindfulness trainings. I invite you to sit upright, to sit beautifully, solid as a mountain, but also relaxed. You can invite your breathing to bring you back to this present moment. Bring your mind and body together. You can find the connection with your breathing and the earth. Breathing in, I'm aware that this is an in-breath. Breathing out, I'm aware that this is an out-breath. In-breath, out-breath.
sense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. The one who bows and the one who is bowed to are both by nature empty. Therefore, the communication between them is inexpressibly perfect. Our practice centers the net of Indra, reflecting all Buddhas everywhere. And with my person in front of its Buddha, I go with my whole life for refuge. Offering lying the 10 directions, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, to whom we bow in gratitude. Teaching and living the way of awareness in the very midst of suffering and confusion. Sakyamuni Buddha, the fully enlightened one, to whom we bow in gratitude. pure beings, nourishing, holding, and healing all. Bodhisattva Gaya, Great Mother, precious to all of the cosmos, to whom we bow in gratitude. Radiating light in all directions, source of life on earth. Mahavairatana Tathagata, Great Father Son, Buddha of infinite light and life, to whom we bow in gratitude. Showing the way fearlessly and compassionately, the stream of our ancestral teachers, to whom we bow in gratitude.
Good morning, dear respected teacher, dear most venerable, dear noble community. Please chant past the chanting booklets and turn to page 4. We'll begin with the sutra opening verse in English, followed by the chanting of the insight that brings us to the other shore. If you want to follow along with the music score, you can turn to page 22. After chanting, we will have the formal request, followed by Sangha Karma procedure and the transmission of the 5 mindfulness trainings.
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa The inside the princess to the other shore. Avalokiteshvara while practicing deeply with the inside the princess to the other shore. Suddenly discovered that all of the five skandhas are equally empty, and with this realization, he overcame all ill being. Listen, Sariputta, this body is self, is emptiness, and emptiness is self, is this body is none other than emptiness, and emptiness is none other than this body. The mixture of feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Sariputta, phenomena bear the mark of emptiness. That to nature is the nature of no birth, no death, no being, no non-being, no defilement, no purity, no increasing, no decreasing. That is why in emptiness body, feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness are not separate self-entities. The empty class of phenomena which are the existence of existence of existence, consciousnesses are also not separate self-entities. The violence of interdependence, the rising and their retention are also not separate self-entities. Ill-being, the causes of ill-being, the end of ill-being, the future by practicing the inside, the princess to the other shore. Out capable but tainted of tainted and perfect enlightenment. Therefore, Sariputta is surely known as the inside, the princess to the other shore is a great mantra, the most illuminating mantra, the highest mantra, the mantra beyond compare. The true wisdom that has the power to put an end to all kinds of suffering. Therefore, let us proclaim a mantra to praise the inside the princess to the other shore. Gate, gate, para, samgate, bodhisattva. Gate, para, samgate, bodhisattva.
Formal requests. If there is anyone who has not had the time to apply to receive the transmission of the 5 mindfulness trainings, but would like to receive them in today's ceremony, you are invited to please stand up, announce your name, and join the aspirants in the middle of the hall. The ordinees, please stand up.
Namo Shakyamuniya Buddhaya. Dear respected teacher, dear noble Sangha, please listen to us with compassion. We would like to make a formal request.
Please touch the earth. The ordinees, please kneel with your palms joined.
Namo Shakyamuniya Buddhaya. Dear respected teacher, dear noble Sangha, we recognize that we're very fortunate to have met the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Thanks to the many good seeds sown in us by our blood ancestors and spiritual ancestors, we have been lucky enough to discover the path of mindfulness. This path helps us practice the art of stopping and living deeply in the present moment so we can nourish, transform, and heal ourselves and bring joy to ourselves and others. We know that the 5 mindfulness trainings are a complete and beautiful expression of this path. Today, with all our heart, we aspire to receive the 5 precious trainings from our spiritual ancestor, and from you, the noble Sangha. We understand clearly that following this path, we will be in the company of Bodhisattvas, and that every moment can be a moment of happiness. We humbly ask our dear spiritual ancestors and noble Sangha to accept our request and to transmit to us the trainings.
We are happy to accept your request. You are very fortunate to have discovered this beautiful path and to have the opportunity to commit yourselves to it. In order to be able to continue on the path, you will always need a Sangha. It is very important for you to join or create a Sangha where you live so you can realize your aspiration.
We thank you, dear respected teachers and dear noble Sangha, for accepting our request. We will follow your precious advice with all our heart.
Dear orderlies, please stand up to touch the earth 2 more times. Dear orderlies, please be seated. Sangha Karman procedure.
Has the entire community assembled?
Yes, the entire community has assembled.
Is there harmony in the community?
Yes, there is harmony.
Why has the community assembled today?
The community has assembled to perform the Sangha Karman of transmitting the 5 mindfulness trainings.
Noble community, please listen. Today, September 9th, in the year 2023, has been chosen as the day to transmit the 5 mindfulness trainings. The community has assembled at the appointed time and is ready to transmit and receive the 5 mindfulness trainings in an atmosphere of harmony. Thus, the transmission can proceed. Such is the proposal. Is the proposal clear and complete?
Today, the community has gathered to give spiritual support to our friends who make the vow to practice the 5 mindfulness trainings. Will the entire community please enjoy your breathing and remain mindful when you hear the 3 sounds of the bell. The sound of the bell is the voice of the Buddha, bringing us back to our true selves. Orderlies, please stand up to practice the 4 gratitudes. Dear friends, on hearing the sound of the bell, after the recitation of each line, please touch the earth one time.
In gratitude to our Mother and Father who have given us life, we bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions.
In gratitude to our Father and Mother.
In gratitude to our teacher who have shown us the way to love, understand and live deeply the present moment. We bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions.
In gratitude to our teachers.
In gratitude to our friends who guide us and support us, especially in difficult moments. We bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions.
In gratitude to our friends.
In gratitude to our beings in the animal, plant, and mineral worlds, we bow deeply before the three jewels in the 10 directions.
In gratitude to all beings in the animal, plant, and mineral worlds. Dear friends, please be seated at your knees with your palms joined. Dear friends, now is the time to transmit the 5 mindfulness trainings. The 5 mindfulness trainings represent the Buddhist vision for a global spirituality and ethic. They are a concrete expression of the Buddha's teachings on the 4 Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, the path of right understanding and true love, leading to healing, transformation, and happiness for ourselves and for the world. To practice the 5 mindfulness trainings is to cultivate the insights of interbeing, or right view, which can remove all discrimination and intolerance, anger, fear, and despair. If we live according to the 5 mindfulness trainings, we are already on the path of a bodhisattva. Knowing we are on that path, We are not lost in confusion about our life in the present or in fears about the future. We will now recite the 5 mindfulness trainings. Listen carefully with a calm and clear mind. Say, "Yes, I do," every time you see you have the capacity to receive, learn, and practice the mindfulness trainings read. Dear friends, are you ready? The first mindfulness training, reverence for life.
Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life, I am committed to cultivating the insight of interbeing and compassion, and learning ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and our earth. I am determined not to kill, not to let others kill, and not to support any act of killing in the world, in my thinking, or in my way of life. Seeing that harmful actions arise from anger, fear, greed, and intolerance, which in turn come from dualistic and discriminative thinking, I will cultivate openness, non-discrimination, and non-attachment to views in order to transform violence, fanaticism, and dogmatism in myself and in the world.
This is the first of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Please test the earth. The second mindfulness training, true happiness.
Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I am committed to practicing generosity in my thinking, speaking, and acting. I am determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others, and I will share my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in need. I will practice looking deeply to see that the happiness and suffering of others are not separate from my own happiness and suffering. That true happiness is not possible without understanding and compassion, and that running after wealth, fame, power, and sensual pleasures can bring much suffering and despair. I am aware that happiness depends on my mental attitude and not on external conditions, and I can live happily in the present moment simply by remembering that I already have more than enough conditions to be happy. I am committed to practicing right livelihood so that I can help reduce the suffering of living beings on earth and stop contributing to climate change.
This is the second of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Please touch the earth. The third mindfulness training, true love.
Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I am committed to cultivating responsibility and learning ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. Knowing that sexual desire is not love and that sexual activity motivated by craving always harms myself as well as others, I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without mutual consent, true love, and a deep long-term commitment. I resolve to find spiritual support for the integrity of my relationship from family members, friends, and Sangha, with whom there is support and trust. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. Seeing that body and mind are interrelated, I am committed to learning appropriate ways to take care of my sexual energy and to cultivating the 4 basic elements of true love: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and inclusiveness, for the greater happiness of myself and others. Recognizing the diversity of human experience, I am committed not to discriminate against any form of gender identity or sexual orientation. Practicing true love, we know that we will continue beautifully into the future.
This is the third of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? The 4th mindfulness training, loving speech and deep listening.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful speech and the inability to listen to others, I am committed to cultivating loving speech and compassionate listening in order to relieve suffering and promote reconciliation and peace in myself and among other people, ethnic and religious groups and nations. Knowing that words can create happiness or suffering, I am committed to speaking truthfully using words that inspire confidence, joy, and hope. When anger is manifesting in me, I am determined not to speak. I will practice mindful breathing and walking in order to recognize my anger and look deeply into its roots. Especially in wrong perceptions and lack of understanding of the suffering in myself and in the other person. I will speak and listen in a way that can help myself and the other person to release suffering and see the way out of difficult situations. I am determined not to spread news that I do not know to be certain and not to utter words that can cause division or discord. I will practice right diligence to nourish my capacity for understanding, love, joy, and inclusiveness, and gradually transform anger, violence, and fear that lie deep in my consciousness.
This is the 4th of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? The 5th mindfulness training, nourishment and healing.
Aware of the suffering caused by unmindful consumption, I am committed to cultivating good health, both physical and mental, for myself, my family, and my society, by practicing mindful eating, drinking, and consuming. I will practice looking deeply into my consumption of the 4 kinds of nutriments, namely edible foods, sense impressions, volition, and consciousness. I am determined not to gamble or to use alcohol, drugs, or any other products which contain toxins, such as certain websites, electronic games, TV programs, films, magazines, books, and conversations. I will practice coming back to the present moment to be in touch with the refreshing, healing, and nourishing elements in me and around me, not letting regrets and sorrow drag me back into the past, nor letting anxieties, fear, or craving pull me out of the present moment. I am determined not to try to cover up loneliness, anxiety, or other suffering by losing myself in consumption. I will contemplate interbeing and consume in a way that preserves peace, joy, and well-being in my body and consciousness, and in the collective body and consciousness of my family, my society, and the earth.
This is the fifth of the 5 mindfulness trainings. Do you make the commitment to receive, study, and practice it? Dear friends, you have received the 5 mindfulness trainings, which are the foundation of happiness in the family and in society. They are the basis for the aspiration to help others. You should recite the trainings often, at least once a month, so that your understanding and practice of the 5 mindfulness trainings can grow deeper every day. A mindfulness trainings recitation ceremony can be organized in the practice center or at home with friends. If you do not recite the trainings at least once in 3 months, you lose the transmission and today's ceremony will be nullified. Dear friends, as students of the Awakened One, you should be energetic in the practice the way the Buddha has taught, to create peace and happiness for yourselves and all species. Upon hearing the sound of the bell, please stand up and touch the earth deeply 3 times to show your gratitude to the 3 jewels. Dear friends, please stand up to touch the earth 3 times. Dear friends, please be seated. 5 mindfulness training certificate. This is to certify that Christian Fellar has received all 5 of the 5 mindfulness trainings on the 9th day of September in the year 2023 at Magnolia Grove Monastery with the lineage name Nourishing Peace of the Source. After receiving the 5 mindfulness trainings, the practitioner commits to study and recite them regularly with the Sangha if possible, so that their practice of the mindfulness trainings can deepen day by day. If in 3 months the practitioner has not recited the mindfulness trainings at least once, the transmission will no longer be effective. The transmission was conducted with the spiritual support of the International Plum Village Dharma Teacher Council, represented by Bhikshu Thich Phap An, Bhikshuni Thich Nữ Chang Kong, of the 43rd generation of the Lam Te Dhyana School and the 9th generation of the Liu Guang Dharma line. Kristen. For the rest of the ordinees, after the ceremony, you will meet your Dharma sharing facilitator to receive your certificate. Dear friends, please join your palms to chant the closing verse.
Transmission